What is going on with ETH? You're probably sitting there scratching your head wondering, is this thing actually going to move? Is this going to become a coin? Well, that's exactly what we're going to discuss today. Welcome back, Scalpx Legends. Hopefully you're having a beautiful start to your week. Let's dive into this together. I want to start off with a moderate time frame, a 4-hour, if you will, just to kind of get a better perspective as far as some of the plays that we're looking at. Now, right now, a lot of the lack of performance when it comes to ETH is due to BTC being extremely dominant right now in this cycle. That being said, with ETH underperforming in comparison to a lot of alts that have already hit all-time highs, ETH vastly underperforming is kind of setting up for a massive move to the upside. So I want to give you both perspectives. Let's start off with the just in case the market continues to flush down other alts, including ETH. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at a barrier triangle. And this is something that we were discussing in our previous video. We're looking for these areas right over here, this red trend line to be tapped into. And that's exactly what it did. It tapped right into this red trend line. You can see it right over there to your left. And now it's having a move back down to the downside. Now, if it comes down and makes an equal low, then I would expect it to bounce off this area in this realm, coming back and testing this trend line again, making a lower high. That essentially is going to be your barrier triangle. And if that is the case, then we're going to come back down again. But when we come back down for the third time, we'll have a breakdown to the downside. That's going to result in some of these lower levels being tapped into. I have a couple different correction waves that I'm looking at. This is why you see two different ABC patterns. I'm looking at potentially tapping into this fair value gap, this green box that you see right over here, and potentially bouncing. And I'm also looking at some of these areas being tapped into. If I look at the measured move, right, if I measure from this high down to where these equal lows would be, essentially the measured move, if we break out down to the downside, is going to be somewhere inside of this realm. This blue box plays as a role as a fair value gap that's viewed on a weekly. So it's a target that can be tapped into. We do have some higher levels than that we can be respecting. If we go back over to a daily, just to kind of give you a glimpse as far as what those levels look like, so it's a little bit more visible, we're looking at some of these options right over here as far as being potential areas for support. And that's in the event that we have a midterm bearish flush to the downside, right? If BTC decides to go to 109, because that's one of the projected areas that it could go to for this wave, then I would expect the majority of other alts to continue to flush down, ETH being one of those. Now, let's look at the bullish perspective of that. And we're going to go back over to our contracting triangle. I've made some adjustments to that just based on some of these last previous moves. And so I'm still looking at the 4,039 level area as far as imbalance being filled and then having a short term retracement down to the downside. So as long as we make a higher low, right? As long as we make a higher low, then we should be fine. Where we come into this level right over here, let's move this over a little bit, right? Where we're looking at, actually, let's take that off because that's difficult to see with a short pattern. We're looking for wave E to be tapping somewhere inside of these levels like 36.94, even potentially down to 38.94, which is right here at the bottom of this red box. That's essentially going to be the sell side liquidity that we're looking for. Now, the reason I say that ETH could be, underperforming for a big move is because you could see a lot of consolidation going on here in this area. Then most individuals that are trying to short this level, trying to push the price back down, there's a lot of orders that are sitting inside of this area. And we can see that area has been a significant area since March of this year. So there's tons of orders. It's almost like it's on easy mode for shorts. And that's when it gets kind of tricky, like psychologically, where majority are just setting their orders like, hey, ETH's going to go back down. That's just what it does. And because it's underperforming, just boom, just kind of sneak one in right on everybody and then push to the upside. Now, if that's the case, and if this contracting triangle plays out, I'm going to go back over to a daily and we can kind of look at some additional levels, which means that this level 0.236, which was 36.48, that would have been wave 4. That means wave 4 is complete, and actually we are inside of wave 5. And wave 5 we can view, we can actually see it on a weekly. It's a little bit more visible on a weekly. Let's go ahead and take a peek at that. We're looking at some of these levels right over here, 5900s, right? We'll start off lower. We'll go 4890, 5900s, and even potentially 7K. So like those are the three different levels that I'm looking at for wave 5. I'm being optimistic here by saying wave 5 is going to be an all-time high for ETH just because of its lack of performance. And due to its lack of performance, and if we get an advanced wave, like a really big push to the upside, we're looking at 7K. I don't think that's outside of the realm, especially again how ETH has been performing. Now, if you guys have any questions for me about this setup, as far as what I'm looking at and some of the projections that I'm discussing with you guys, feel free to jump into the trading tournament. I'll be discussing this all day long with you guys. Outside of that, be profitable this week, be safe, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.